following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Look, you want the truth? Okay, then listen in. My first link.
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on the Gear Radio Network. How's it going, everybody? The Listen In Podcast, episode 101, baby. 101, my babies. We are here. John Cimino here at DJC Money on the Twitter, joined, of course, by my esteemed co-host, TV's Mr. Brandon Gorell. Brandon, say hello.
I'm waving.
He's waving.
Hey.
He's waving. He's waving with one hand and holding the mic
for
on the other
radio.
hand. It's not good for radio. No, it's not. It's not.
Neither is my face.
Anyways, we are, of
TV.
course, presented in part thanks to using shopgear.com. Historically, yes, using that link took you somewhere else. But now in the future, what shopgear.com is going to do is take you to our actual Shop Gear store that we are working on. So maybe not right now, but very soon. Different merchandise for Gear Network, for the podcast on the network, all sorts of stuff. As we say goodbye to Amazon, we say hello to the official shopgear.com. So you can, of course, support us by buying merchandise, Gear Network branded merchandise that way, or as well, just listening to the podcast from start to
Too
finish.
bad, man. I've made some purchases over the last few days.
Yeah, I know.
I'm still using the link. Like, it's still there.
Yeah, the link is still there, but
I've had it bookmarked.
Yeah. Well,
And I just click on it and I purchase some shit.
and you know what? I'm not against applying for another affiliate program with them again. But realistically, we don't really need them.
Lloyd Boner.
What's that? Lloyd Boner.
Lloyd Boner,
yes.
the station affiliate.
Lloyd Boner. Lloyd Boner will be that guy. But yes. Anyways, for anybody that is listening to this podcast that follows me on social media, I guess we'll get right down to the nitty-gritty with that part first. But first of all, thank you for the past 5 years of using Amazon through our links to help support us.
Evil John was thumbing his nose to the man at Amazon and using it for his personal piggy bank.
Yeah, apparently
having all his buddies buy stuff.
Right. Apparently, Amazon provides the links.
Apparently, Amazon's losing money.
I'm guessing that's probably what it is. Is
John Cimino
of all
running the Gear Network studios over here is driving that stock price down.
That's right. That's right.
Bezos is worth $1 trillion, and that's just not enough.
Right. And he doesn't pay taxes either, so that doesn't help. But anyways, but basically, what it boils right down to you, because I know there's a lot of you that actually replied for some reason to the announcement that we're no longer an Amazon affiliate. The long and short of it is, Amazon does audits apparently through their affiliate programs, and they found that on Gear Network that, shopgear.com, they didn't really understand that shopgear.com was a redirect link that redirected them to the link that they provided me. It's much easier to say on air than it would be amazon.com/ampersand this whatever, and with our network tag in there. But so I got an email from them about a week ago, and it said, this is the list of corrections, this is a list of things that you need to correct. So I went in and I corrected it, and I sent it back, and I said, here you go, and here's the proof, and sent the screenshots and everything like that. And then they sent me an email a couple of days ago that said, we found that you have violated the terms because you're using this for personal gain. I said, personal gain? Like, I couldn't even...
I don't even really understand, like, what's the point of it? Like, you're running a network. Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, are you supposed to show receipts that you spend it on Gear Network?
I'm not sure exactly what it is.
I really don't understand that.
But the affiliate program was tied to my regular Amazon account.
Yeah.
So anytime I purchased from Amazon, it would show up on the Gear Network thing, but it never distributed. It never had any revenue attached with it. It never had any commission attached with it. So you think
maybe because it's attached to you?
It doesn't matter. I was never I could never double dip.
I know, but like maybe they're seeing it as like personal use because you're using it with your personal account.
I have no idea.
So maybe just make a Fako.
Maybe.
Just make one that
Lloyd Boner does have. Lloyd Boner does have
like a real email and like just a real account and just like completely separate from John Cimino.
I can try that.
I mean, it's worth it. I mean, I spent a shit ton of money.
I know you do. I know you do, and I appreciate you for that.
Just bought a birthday present for somebody.
The thing is I've done the numbers over the past 5 months.
Yeah.
Since for those of you listening into us here, you'll notice that the podcast is actually sandwiched in between commercials, like legitimate radio commercials now. And we've done that, and what we have found, or what I have found, is that listening to the podcast from start to finish, without interrupting the commercials, skipping the commercials, or whatever.
Which I just if you listen to it, I need to stop doing.
Yes, you need to stop that. But
I got to listen to. Hi, my name is John.
No, not that one. No,
you need to bring those back.
Like the Geico ones.
I miss those.
Well, I can't do that now with that. Otherwise, it's going to, the podcast is going to start 3 minutes after you press play, and it's going to be, by that point, who cares? But, listening to the podcast from start to finish over the past month has brought in way more than Amazon has brought in.
Yeah.
And it's just by listening.
Like legit advertisements, and they're not really long. And people are not going to get unless you're me, that's irritated by everything. That's not.
Well, it's
most people are gonna be like, oh yeah, what?
You're in your fucking 40s officially, so that's.
I am in my fucking 40s.
So that's what happens.
I left my douchebag 30s, and I'm in my fucking
40s. I'm still happily in the douchebag 30s. And
for how much longer?
About another year and some change, but whatever.
A year and a couple of months,
something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't celebrate my birthday anyway, so whatever. Who cares? I'm ageless. But speaking of, you know what? Let's just go back to the core. Anyways, fuck Amazon. Let's go to the core of this podcast, where this podcast originated, which was talking football, the sport that I couldn't care less about this year.
Uncle Salty's. We're gonna call this Uncle Salty's Jets Corner. Jets Crying Corner.
Uncle Salty's Soapbox.
Uncle Salty's Soapbox.
There we go.
Perfect. This is where John is gonna rant and rave about the NFL. How the whole league sucks because his team's not doing anything. Because Tom Brady's winning again, and I'm so tired of it. And the Jets suck, and my guy has mono, and Woody Johnson's a boner, and
well, he is a boner, and Sam Darnold does have mono. Those are two very valid
I just hate the season. I hate football. I hate everything about football. That was in the first quarter of the first game.
No, it wasn't, because the Jets were winning in the first quarter.
It was in the fourth quarter. You're right.
It was in the fourth quarter when they started coming back, because I had seen the way that the Jets were playing and the Bills were coming back. I have seen 100 Jets games just like that, and the Jets are 0-100 and not 0-101 now in situations like that. So I knew it right away. The minute the comeback started, and the minute I started seeing Bill's Twitter go crazy, because I'm part of Trust the Podcast, so I'm very in tune with what's happening with the Mafia, and I see Bill's Twitter going crazy, and I see Facebook going crazy, and then I see all these asshole friends of mine on Facebook that are posting
well, you live
on the
in
walls.
Western New York. It's like, if you had lost to the Raiders in Week 1, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But it's the Bills.
It really wasn't bad when we lost the Browns in worse fashion.
Well, you knew it was coming, though.
You know what I mean?
Because you were like, "Oh, great, Trevor Siemian's starting tonight."
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
Now we have Luke Falk,
and now you have Luke Falk, who actually didn't look terrible
with Nick Nick Fails
Nick Fails.
Nick Fails. So Falcon failing, who knows? Whatever. That was what's his face, Alberto on Sports Analyst with that one. And I stole from him. So, anyways, but you know what? Before I even decide to even possibly entertain the thought about talking about the dumpster fire that is East Rutherford, New Jersey, in general,
because it is in general,
in general, not
the
just
stadium
the Jets.
Is 0-4 right now. Actually, the stadium's 0-3, but there's been 3 games there.
Oh, they're about to. Stadium, I'm telling you, they're about to start winning.
Daniel Jones
time, America.
He doesn't have anybody.
It's happening. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He is the savior of that franchise. Which, you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute, because I am of the mindset that Eli Manning kind of got the short end of the stick. I don't think
for a while.
I don't think that Eli Manning.
He's been getting his ass handed to him, and they have not invested one single solitary penny in the offensive line.
Right, like literally, it really was.
Oh, let's get you some weapons, but then we'll take some weapons away, but also not invest in the line. We're going to get some defense.
The last year of Coughlin,
they're like the Jets.
Yeah, the last year of Coughlin was like the transition year from when the Giants were consistently good to where they were heading into this direction that they're in now. And that's why part of the reason why Tom Coughlin, I think, was so salty during his press conference, getting a chair or whatever, which is hilarious to me. But, ever since then, Eli has not been treated very well, in my humble opinion.
And for someone who has brought them 2 Super Bowls, consecutive years of winning, has really done a lot for that franchise. He did a lot for America that one year.
Oh, yeah.
When the Patriots were undefeated.
And then did it again 4 years later.
Yeah, but that one wasn't as bad. It was the undefeated one that nobody wanted to see happen because they were just like, we already hate the Patriots as it is, but they could have the all-time greatest team in history, and we can't really dispute it because it's like, well, they played more games than Miami and won more games than Miami, and they were doing it in such dominant fashion. Like, Miami had a lot of close games in their undefeated season, but the Patriots, nothing was close except for that one Giants game, and that's when the seed of doubt was kind of planted. Like, maybe they're not indestructible, like, they barely won this game against the Giants, and then that Super Bowl happened, so... Eli is getting kind of the shit end of the stick. I think he's getting his karma because he did say that he did kind of screw San Diego in the beginning of his career.
He did.
I'm not going to go play for you. You might as well just trade me because I'm never going to sign for you. So he did bitch his way into New York. He did. He's getting bitched out of New York.
He did.
I guess that's maybe karma. But
so let me ask you this.
Still
because the Hall of Fame is. Everybody that retires, no matter what, they're always going to be, are they Hall of Fame worthy, and this, that, and the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, very era based with who is in there. Joe Namath, for example, prime example. You take his stats now, dog shit. They're dog shit.
Yeah.
They're dog
nothing,
shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put Joe Flacco back in that era, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. But for what Joe Namath did, being the first AFL team to say, I made the guarantee, and the first AFL team, which so happened to be those New York Football Jets, that defeated an NFL team in the Super Bowl and won. I mean, that's huge. That's big. And I could understand why Joe Namath would be in the Hall of Fame because of that. So I say this to you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, or if you want to go with his full name, Alicia Nelson Manning. I'm going to use that.
Everybody's been governmenting him today because he's all done.
His record as a starter, 116. His team's 116, 116-0. He's a perfect 500 throughout his entire career. But is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. He absolutely is. I mean, he's got good numbers, but he also won 2 Super Bowls and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That's not a small feat. And he did take on one of the best teams
in history.
Ever seen.
In history.
Yeah. I mean, they were, 17-0 at that point?
They were 18-0.
Yeah, 18-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a small feat. I mean, they were heavy underdogs, and they won that game. And it was Eli's play that kept him in that game, and it was Eli's toughness and strength that kept him from being sacked and being able to get that ball away. I mean, today's NFL, he would have been ruled down.
Right.
He would have been like, oh, no, you're going to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the pass wouldn't have counted, but they would have probably got 15 yards for roughing the passer.
All right, so let me ask you this.
But he definitely is.
Bullet point to that. Follow-up question, I should say. First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so. Quarterback is such a difficult position. It's difficult to be good for a year. To do it consistently, to be consistently good, to get to the playoffs, and to win Super Bowls as a starting quarterback for the same team. It's not easy. And that's the hardest position to play in sports, and it's getting harder every year.
Yes,
they ask more and more of the quarterback.
I feel like within the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see more of the Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes kind of players, and less of the Bradys and Eli's and Peytons and...
The thing is, though, is those guys...
Excuse me, future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
Those guys, though, eventually are not going to be as mobile as they are, and they're going to have to throw.
Cam Newton, prime example.
Yeah, I think that Patrick Mahomes can throw. Mm-hmm. I think Deshaun Watson can throw. I think that's what makes them dangerous. Believe it or not, everyone wants to say, oh, Patrick Mahomes is revolutionizing. No, he's not. He's just basically a younger, maybe a little more athletic Aaron Rodgers.
I feel like
Aaron Rodgers has been playing the same game for a decade.
I feel like he is the NFL's version of Steph Curry.
Yeah, he is.
And
he's
he's also extremely he's also very
but
accurate.
He also ended up in an extremely good situation.
He did because he could have very easily been in Buffalo. He could have been in
immediately with the expectations of he went into a team that was already a playoff team.
Right.
He went to a Hall of Fame coach who is a offensive guru, and he started his career with 3 players that were all Pro Bowlers in important places and an offensive line
and
with multiple Pro Bowlers,
which and afforded the ability to sit for 15 of 16.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. He sat behind Alex Smith on a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he had to go and save a franchise that was 1-15 the previous year and they're completely rebuilding.
Right.
He got the Rodgers treatment.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers did really well when he first came in too because. Excuse me. Holy shit. That one snuck up on me.
Oh, there we go.
Stop
Toasty.
that. Stop that. Aaron Rodgers inherited Brett Favre's team. Brett Favre, even though the Packers were aging, they still had a good core.
The Packers were very close to being to facing that aforementioned 18-0 Patriots team.
Eli Manning
in the Super Bowl.
It was Favre throwing that interception in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But Eli driving him down to get that tying field goal, at the end of the game is what got him to overtime.
Right.
But Mahomes got a really great situation. I don't know. I can't say for sure whether Mahomes would fail in another situation, but he would not be putting up the numbers he is now.
Well, for perspective here, both Deshaun Watson and Mitchell Trubisky were drafted before Mahomes.
Yeah.
So he could have Mahomes.
Deshaun Watson is a good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback.
He's a killer too.
And and you know what's sad?
And he's got some
what's
talent
sad
around him too, but Bill O'Brien sucks.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien and that offensive line sucks because Deshaun Watson, I fear because I was able. I use the Reddit. I'm not gonna lie. I use the Reddit to watch all the football games, and I had Red Zone on, and they had the Texans on for a little bit, and I more often than not felt like Deshaun Watson was always getting hit.
Oh, that game against the Saints, that Monday night game?
Like he was getting hit.
It was a classic.
He was on his ass.
Pounded.
He was getting pounded. Yeah. And I fear that someone with the talent of Deshaun Watson is going to have a very shortened career if the Texans don't invest like the Cowboys did, for example, in their offensive line.
Yeah.
Which, the Dak can give part of his Dak Prescott when he eventually gets the deal that's currently being worked on with Dallas. If he can give part of that to that offensive line, because Jerry Jones spent money on that offensive line, beefed it up, and that is what's allowed Dak Prescott to do what he's doing.
Yeah, and Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott too.
Zeke's a good running back, but he's afforded the chance to run behind that line.
I think Zeke probably could be good anywhere he goes. I don't think the same for Zach.
You think Dak. He can go behind the Dolphins line and be a good running back?
Well, I don't think anybody.
Do you think
can
he'd be behind the Texans running line and good running back? He needs a good element. He's a forward runner, and when you run forward, you're a downhill runner. You need holes to open, and that's when the big runs happen. If those holes don't open, you're running into a line quite often. Dallas has a really good line, and they've spent a lot of money and a lot of draft picks in that line. So I would say that, I don't know if it's true that he would be a good running back anywhere. And I feel like running backs are plug and play anyways. If you have a good offense, you have a good quarterback, it doesn't matter really who's your running back. They're going to get their opportunities, and as long as they can hold on to the ball They're going to be good. I mean,
the only
Green Bay's
touchdown
never
scored.
really had any-
The only touchdown scored this season for the Jets.
Look how good Eddie Lacy looked in Green Bay, and then
He did.
nowhere else.
Yeah. Well, the only touchdown scored by the Jets this season is by Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, Le'Veon looked good,
He did.
but he's making 10 receptions a game, and they're all around the fucking line of scrimmage.
He's great for your fantasy team.
He is.
It's a PPR league.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely helping.
But yeah. So football's weird, man. But I do agree with you as far as circling back to Eli Manning. I do believe he is a Hall of Famer. I do believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I do believe that his leading the Giants to the Super Bowl win over the 18-0 New England Patriots, sealed it for him as being a Hall of Famer.
And
but then you look at
Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, like Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, but he wasn't the Super Bowl MVP.
Right,
he was just a guy there.
You look at Eli's numbers. He has 56,537 passing yards, 362 touchdowns, 241 interceptions.
But you also got to think too, like Eli did it in a system of Tom Coughlin's that was a very run-heavy team.
Yes,
but he still
produced there.
Put in a lot of work.
But even during his days in Ole Miss, I remember watching him in Ole Miss, and he wasn't really the passer sheriff type like Peyton was.
Yeah, no one's Peyton. I mean, Peyton's his own guy. But to be little brother and to have to be in that shadow and still win as many Super Bowls as Peyton did, it says a lot. And he played in a lot different system, where he was not allowed to, just kind of be the offense like Peyton Manning was. Eli had to play within the constraints of, that offense. And that offense relied on running game and defense.
All right.
So I think he is. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think there's a lot worse quarterbacks in there that are in the Hall of Fame. I think there are quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls that aren't as good. They got in the Hall of Fame on first ballot. Troy Aikman.
Yes. All right.
Steve Young won one Super Bowl, and he got in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he won one Super Bowl as a starter.
That's what I mean. But there's
anyways. Hang on. Photo op for IG. Okay, here we go.
There's backups that have won 3 rings, but they're not going to go to the Hall of Fame. Steve Young won one as a starter. Steve Young was a good quarterback. He did not have the numbers that Eli does. There's a good example right there. We're not going to say Steve Young's a bad quarterback, and he was good for long stretches of his career.
All right.
Whereas like Michael Vick was amazing for a very short stretch of his career.
Well,
and that's why he does not get into a Hall of Fame.
Right.
Regardless of what happened.
I think what happened is a large part of it, of why he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, because if what happened in his prison sentence and everything, that type of crap didn't happen, the numbers that he probably would have put up would have made him Hall of Fame worthy, I think.
No.
You don't think so?
The game caught up because everyone else started trying to draft guys like Mike Vick, and they couldn't. And you think that Mike's going to take those hits for 2 more years and then keep producing those numbers. He's not, and he was not a pocket passer. I just don't think that he would be, he was dominant in that short period of time that he was, Mike Vick.
All right.
But I think it requires a long, consistent stretch, and Eli had a long, consistent stretch. He's fallen apart towards the end of his career, but I don't put it all on him.
So where does, assuming Eli...
He's better than Phil Simms.
Much better than Phil Simms.
And Phil Simms is in the Hall of Fame.
So last thing on Eli here, because I didn't expect this to be an Eli heavy thing, but it's good because we didn't write anything, and it's flowing like water. So Eli, assuming that the Giants don't trade him this year, do you feel like Eli will try and stick it out one more year? Because I feel like if the Giants don't trade him, they're probably going to release him at the end of the year. Do you feel like Eli will stick around? If he does stick around for one more year, where do you think he winds up? Because I don't see a situation really on any team unless the Jets completely give up on Sam Darnold, and in that case, Eli has to just move his stuff across the hall. But I don't know that I see a situation on any of the other NFL teams where Eli could land as a starter. I don't know. Is this the end for Eli? Is this the end? Is he riding this season out and then riding off into the sunset?
No. I still think that Eli thinks that he can play.
But where would he play? Where would he go? You have to think that the Miami Dolphins are tanking are legitimately tanking for Tua. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, they get the number 1 overall pick. Tua decides, I'm not going back to school, and I'm not going to demand a trade to get out of Miami because Miami is freaking a dope city, honestly. But so let's just assume that the Dolphins get their man and they get Tua. Which the tanking, we can discuss the whole tanking thing on another podcast because I'm very irritated with that pattern. I think of like
teams that could use them, but
I don't know that there is any team that's out there right now aside from maybe the Jets. If they were to give up on Sam Darnold, I don't know that they're going to give up on Sam Darnold. But if they want to give him, if they want to give him competition.
No, they're not going to give him.
You know what I mean?
Competition's not going to be good for him.
No,
he is the starter. You don't lose your job to injury. That's just it's a no-no in the NFL.
I just don't know where Eli could wind up and either be a starter or contend for a starter, because there's nowhere unless Drew Brees retires at the end of the season. Maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe if Drew Brees retires at the end of the season, they bring him to compete with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
And Brees is injured, and he just had surgery on his throwing hand, on his thumb, and he'll be back probably around week 8, week 9. But he's 40 years old, so Eli's 38, but still,
it's still 2 years younger.
Right. So I mean the Saints, maybe, if he wants to stick to the NFC.
Yeah,
I don't see any other team. They have, if we go to look in the NFC East, for example, the Cowboys have Dak.
The Vikings could cut ties with Kirk Cousins. He's not at all living up to what they need.
He's not, but is Kirk Cousins at this point now any better or worse than Eli Manning? He's younger.
He's way worse.
He's younger.
But he's a turnover machine. He plays panicked and he plays scared. That is not anything you can do in the NFL. He played scared against Green Bay. I mean, he looked like he was going to shit his britches every time he dropped back.
Okay.
They paid him a lot of money.
They did, and most of it guaranteed.
He has done nothing for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, no, he has not. Dalvin Cook is what's been keeping the Vikings in games.
For this year, yeah. Last year he wasn't around.
Well, yeah, he was hurt. But
I mean, their defense is what kept them in last year.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it was either that or I was thinking like Tennessee. I don't think Mariota's the answer in Tennessee.
Tannehill played pretty well in the preseason.
Yeah, he's played pretty well in preseasons for the Dolphins too.
Yeah, all right, that's very fair.
He's played good in games for the Dolphins as well. He's not a good quarterback.
Right.
I'd say Tennessee is a place.
Denver.
Yeah,
you think I could do away with Flacco and.
Dude, watching Flacco, I don't know. I mean, Flacco looked pretty good last week in that fourth quarter against a pretty stout defense, but I think that the defense ran out of gas because they're playing at altitude. Second week of the season, they spent a lot of time on the field because Mitchell and the gang were not doing much on offense. So, I don't know. I mean, Denver's an option.
Follow his brother into retiring from Denver?
Denver's an option.
Indy, possibly Indy. Honestly,
I think that they're okay with Jacoby Brissett.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean,
I think he plays. I think he plays well enough to keep them.
And he's young, and he just signed a brand new contract.
Okay.
I don't see them being like after 2 games going, "Hey, we're 1-1, and we actually should be 2-0." But Vinatieri can't kick kicks. After we just lost our franchise quarterback, let's go and grab somebody else. I don't think that he needed to rock that boat. I think that maybe Cincinnati. Dalton is starting to creep up in age, and he hasn't really done much, and he seems to get hurt at the end of each year lately.
Oof. I think I'd rather retire.
Pittsburgh, but they seemed pretty happy with Mason Rudolph.
Well, they seem happy with Mason Rudolph, but Ben Roethlisberger already said, I'm coming back next year.
Yeah, of course he is.
So, you know.
Yeah, he needs to get the rest of that contract.
Yeah.
He's garbage.
If
If you watched week 1 against the Patriots, he looked like shit.
Yeah.
And it's the first time he's gone out there without multiple wide receiver weapons. He's always had like San Antonio Holmes and Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and a good running back and a good tight end, and he's had a good line, and now he doesn't have those weapons around him anymore, and then he looked pedestrian at best. And last year he was a turnover machine.
Yes, he was.
There's no more Antonio Brown to take triple coverage.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more Antonio Brown that you can just throw the ball up, 40 yards down the field and hope he runs under one.
Right.
He's got Schuster, who's a good receiver, but he's not ready to be a feature receiver yet because he's now getting the double teams and triple teams.
He is, yep.
Antonio
absolutely.
And he has not made a peep the first 2 weeks.
All right.
So, the Steelers will bring him back, but who cares? He's not going to be that good. Are you going to throw away this season? Probably.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well,
I think he can play still, and I think that somebody will give him a shot. It just
I have no idea.
The way quarterbacks are dropping right now, a good team could lose their quarterback for the year.
It could be anywhere. You're right.
They need somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will tell you this. We've hit about the half an hour mark here on this, specifically talking about Eli. And quite frankly, I'm glad because, again, breaking down the wall, listeners, I did not write a podcast at all. So we are completely winging it just like we did last week, I should say. Last year, probably too. And I'm enjoying that. But I'm going to take a quick break right now just to kind of give you a quick heads up here. Yes, I'll go ahead and I will play the wonderful Showcase Showdown music that I would have played for advertising an Amazon product, but I'm not going to. But this is more or less to let you know that shopgear.com within the next couple of weeks, again, it's going to be an actual shopgear.com store. So T-shirts, mugs, freaking mouse pads. A whole bunch of crap. We're building it. It's going to be fun. If you want to support us that way, that would be great too. We would certainly appreciate it, and it would give yourself some Gear Network swag, and then of course as well
Gear Network Bojankles.
I don't think we can do that on that store, but
sure we can.
It's something that I'm sure I can look into, but. Also, too, gearnetwork.com/donate if you want to bypass all that crap and you like what you hear and you want to kick maybe even anything, $1, $500, whatever. It doesn't matter. We've got a PayPal link set up. You could donate in any denomination.
Quickly.
What's that?
That escalated quickly.
There we go. That's right. Well,
do I hear $1? $1. Oh, I see $1 down there. Do I hear $500?
Very good. But gearnetwork.com/donate, or of course, just listen to the episode start to finish. Do not skip the commercials. A great way to support us. And Brandon and I will be back on the other side right after this message from Mr. Perez and Project Transformation.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Perez. Project Transformation is not just about my weight loss, but it's also about the people who are supporting me in my weight loss and your journeys. And frankly, it's not going to be just about my weight loss journey. Throughout this, I want to highlight people in the community that are making changes and transforming the community themselves. So it's not going to be just my transformation, but it's the community's transformation. And I'm inviting you to walk with me, only on the Gear Radio Network.
Brandon Guerrero here with you. And now it is time on the Listening Podcast for week 3 of the Gear Network /Listen In Podcast Pick'em. So let's go ahead. I'm going to bring this bad boy.
Week 2 for us because we didn't do week 1.
NFL week 3, but week 2 for us. So last week's result, Go ahead.
I'm a champion every week.
That's right. Our old Sterling Sharp, not Sterling, Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp.
Of being the champion every week. Brandon won by a game because I picked the Jets like an idiot.
Dummy.
Brandon is in first place right now at 12 total points. Myself, Pat G from the Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast, and Bills Fan 1771. I'm guessing that might be Steve-O. I have no effing idea who the hell that is, but
Jermaine?
Is it Jermaine?
No, where is he? He should be in this thing.
I have no idea, but I keep posting it. So send him the goddamn link so he can get on there and
sign him up for him.
All right, do that. But we're tied at 2, and then your buddy Zach Dean from the Sports Analyst. He's in 5th place right now.
The man who tells us not what we want to hear, but what we need to hear.
He's at 10 points. And then Sleazy from the Wrestling Show with Sleazy and the Fat Man is at the bottom with 8 total points. But all right, so listen.
Keep it sleazy,
Facebook.com/listeninpodcast. I'm going to share it every goddamn week, and I want this thing to grow. And I want you're probably not going to catch up to myself or Brandon, because typically Brandon and I usually the only reason why Brandon's there was a difference in win-loss is because I picked something different than he did last week. But
we had 3 differences last week.
No, we had 2 differences, and I ended up choosing something different in the Steelers.
Really?
The Steelers game was what I did. But
I had the Hawkeys.
What's that?
I had the Seahawks that game.
Yes, you did, and originally I had the Seahawks too, but then I switched it to the Steelers, and I said that it was the West Coast to East Coast travel.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. So
but I think we had 3 differences, and the Jets was the tiebreaker.
It could have been,
because that's the only reason we have one more. Because there was one that I got wrong that I think you got right.
I don't remember, but
and that's why we were tied going into that Monday night game.
Okay,
and that's the only way it would happen.
I threw the fucking
because if I picked that one right, then we would have been not tied.
Okay, so before we go run down the list here, Brandon.
C,
bold prediction. Your week 3 bold prediction, whether you have it on here or maybe it contributed to you picking on here. But what is your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that the Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs.
The Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs
at Kansas City.
Is it safe to assume that you chose the Ravens?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I chose the Chiefs. So
all right.
We
know we have a difference there.
Okay. Very good. Are you ready for my bold prediction?
Yeah. What's your bold prediction?
Jets are beating the Patriots.
All right.
I'm kidding. I didn't pick the Jets. I didn't pick the Jets over the Patriots, honestly. But that would be my bold prediction if I did that. But yeah, no.
I almost went with the Steelers beating the 49ers with Mason Rudolph at the helm.
Really?
Almost went with it.
That'd be interesting.
Garoppolo looked good game, last game, but against the Bucs they weren't great.
He did.
We'll see.
Just so you know, despite the fact that the Colts told Adam Vinatieri or convinced Adam Vinatieri not to retire, they worked out Young Hoku.
I was hoping they were going to sign Young Hoku.
There we go.
Notre Dame alum.
Indeed.
Greatest name in the game.
Thursday night football. Titans, Jaguars.
This is our last standard definition Thursday night football.
Yes, and we're gonna I'm actually gonna pose something to you. I was actually going to pose something to you. Should we go ahead and pick Week 4's Thursday night game? Because part of me kind of wants to podcast from Studio B because it's the first game in 4K.
Game. Nope, I'm going to be mouth open, catatonic, drooling with a giant boner.
That might be podcast worthy though.
But that's not going to be podcast worthy.
I would think I think we're both going to be picking. And they can't see your boner on the podcast.
That's what I'm saying. It's not good podcast. Can't see my boner on there. That's the only thing that's going to be happening.
All right, Titans, Jaguars. Who do you got?
I got the Jags.
I do too. Gardner
Minshew.
Legend before our very eyes.
That's Stash, man. Mm-hmm. I like that guy.
Colts. Falcons.
He's stretched in his jock strap.
Apparently,
that's amazing.
Apparently, as I come to find out, he's done that in college.
I'm going to tell you this: there are definitely videos out here somewhere of that guy farting in a doctor's face. There's no way he doesn't do it.
Yes.
No way he doesn't.
That was the latest Antonio Brown thing. Okay. Here's the thing. I get it. The media doesn't like the guy. Okay, fine.
It's pylon season.
He gets signed with the Patriots. All of a sudden, the sexual assault thing comes out. All of a sudden, the second one comes out, and then randomly out of nowhere, the doctor's like, "Well, he's accusing Antonio Brown of farting on me."
Caterer. Oh, I didn't get paid for a Super Bowl.
I didn't get paid.
Party.
Well, he farted on me. Well, I saw that link, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let me click on that thing.
Is there a video?
I swear to God, I hadn't laughed at. He went from being I don't give a shit to hear about Antonio Brown to send me more of these videos because that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways, Titans Jags. We both got the Jags. Okay. Falcons Colts.
I got the Falcons.
You do.
Yeah, I thought they looked pretty good against Philly the other night.
Okay.
Getting their first win. Philly didn't look bad. I mean, Philly was banged up, but at wide receiver, their defense still was there, and Matt Ryan to Julio Jones still looks like magic to me.
Yes, and for my fantasy team's sake, even though I don't really give a shit about fantasy because I auto drafted all three of my leagues this year.
Wasn't even home.
I have Julio Jones,
Yeah.
and I want that to be magic. But in the same, I picked the Colts because, quite frankly, to your earlier point about Jacoby Brissett looking,
Yeah,
okay,
my
okay
reason
enough.
that is though is they just have not been able to kick field goals.
they're winning by 3. Adam Vinatieri getting the damn
He's
the
gonna
damn
get the demon
demons out.
Yeah, we'll
He's getting
see.
the demons out. He's gonna
All right.
he's gonna kick the
Meanwhile,
Colts to
9-2
victory.
Giants. Woo,
Adam
base is still
Vinatieri,
loaded.
Adam Vinatieri, the most clutch kicker in the history of the NFL,
been
kicked
horrible.
the hardest kick in
Uh-oh.
NFL history. What's going on now?
that's a base clear. No, it's not. He got to the gap.
Oh, all right.
So it's 2 runs. So it's 11
All right.
to 2.
Bills Bengals. Here's an interesting one that a lot
I got
of
the
people
Bills at home.
are calling the sleeper game.
No.
That you think you got the Bills?
No, I got the Bills. They're well coached. They've got good leadership in the locker room. They're not going to get too high on themselves. They didn't go out and blow anybody out. They played well. They slapped around the Giants.
They could easily be
They
1-1 at this
came
point.
Yeah, they could be 1-1. They came back against the Jets. I think that was a character win for them. I think last week was a confidence builder that they can go out and do it 2 days in a row. The Bengals are a mess. So I think it's going to be 3 weeks in a row.
You don't think that this is going to be the Bengals team from week 1 that nearly beat
The Seahawks?
The Seahawks, yeah.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
They got the rusty Seahawks. The Seahawks, who the Seahawks are, showed up last week in Pittsburgh.
That's fair. Cowboys, Dolphins. Cowboys.
Yeah.
Packers,
Dolphins are never going to win a
Packers,
game.
Broncos,
Packers.
Eagles, Lions.
I got the Eagles.
I do as well.
Even though the Lions are going to play them tight, I think it'll be a close game, but the Eagles are at home.
Side note, Jalen Ramsey, the Lions is one of the teams he wants to be traded
I think the reason it's also going to be close, too, is that they don't have Deshaun Jackson, and Aguilar's banged up, and so is who's the guy that I have on my fantasy team that got me 0 points last week?
Tyreek Hill?
No. For the Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles?
Yeah, wide receiver.
Deshaun Jackson?
No, it's not Jackson. It's not Aguilar. It's their other one.
Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey.
Okay.
Jeffrey's banged up too, so he's going to have. That's why I think it's going to be a close game, but I think being at home though.
Okay, Ravens Chiefs. You said Raiders. I
have the Ravens.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Raiders Vikings.
I have the Vikings at
I do
home.
have that. Jets Patriots. We both obviously have the Patriots. Giants Bucks.
Bucks.
I have the Bucks, even though I'm like, get ready, America, not the shitty podcast.
But they're on the road, and to be honest, the Bucks have not looked bad. Jameis was terrible in game 1, turned the ball over way too much, and they barely lost to the 49ers. They were really good against the Panthers last week.
Right.
The defense looks strong. Todd Bowles has those boys playing. That was one of the worst defenses in the league last year, and he has whipped those boys into shape.
Yes, he does. He's definitely a...
Jameis is starting to be a little more careful with the ball.
He's definitely
He
a
made some
tremendous...
throws.
Todd Bowles is definitely a tremendous defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I think Arians is good with quarterbacks, and I think he's...
Panthers, Cardinals.
I got the Cardinals.
Okay. Saints, Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Steelers, Niners. I think you already said Niners.
Niners, yep.
Texans, Chargers.
I got the Texans, but then the Chargers are going to show up. Like, they didn't show up last week against the Lions and
That's
lost.
what I have as well. Rams, Browns.
I got the Rams, actually.
Yeah, I have the Rams as well with that. And
just because their defense, that Baker Mayfield has no line. Right
he
now.
has no line.
And Aaron Donald and Clay Matthews are going to be chasing his ass all day.
Yep.
Clay looks revived.
He does.
He looked really good in that game against the Saints. LA
is tough. LA is tough this year. LA Rams. The Rams.
They got Cooper Kupp.
And finally, Bears, Redskins.
Unfortunately, the Bears.
Yeah, unfortunately, have the Bears too.
They should be 0-2. That roughing the passer call on Chubb was bullshit.
I don't disagree there. So our only disagreement is going to come between Lamar Jackson and future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes, where I am riding the Mahomes bandwagon and you are riding Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So that's that. So whether or not you're the champion every week,
I think that's going to be a good game. But I think what's going to get the edge to them is the defense. The Chiefs didn't look good for 3 quarters of that game against the Raiders.
Yes,
had one
devil's
good quarter.
Advocate. Patrick Mahomes turned it up in 1 quarter, and that's all they needed.
Yeah.
He's future Hall of Famer, Brandon.
But it was the Raiders.
Going to the Hall of Fame.
It's not the Ravens.
He's going to be the first active Hall of Famer.
Okay. He's a great quarterback.
He's my homie.
But I think the Ravens have enough to beat him.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that's all I have for the podcast, so we can move to the bullshit section if we want. What are you looking forward to this weekend as far as the
nothing,
sports?
And it's everything that I could have hoped it would be.
That's fantastic.
I have no plans for the first time in probably a month and a half.
How many vinyls do you have now? 7,000?
142.
142.
Yeah, I got 4 this week. My new prize possession is a reissue of Jim Sullivan's UFO. It is a album that was recorded in 1969. Which, if you want to play with that and go 69, nice. His second and his last album before he just mysteriously disappeared off the face of the earth. And I mean that literally. His car was found in a desert near Roswell, and his guitar, and he was never heard from or seen again. And his second album was released on Hugh Hefner's Playboy Records.
Oh.
Yeah, 1972.
All right.
It was on Hugh Hefner, so he went 69 and then Playboy.
That man clearly knew what he wanted.
Yeah, I've played that record. I played that record 5 times since I got it yesterday. It's really, really good. But I have no plans for the first time in a month and a half, and it's kind of glorious. Actually, I'm watching my nephew Timmy for a few hours on Saturday. That's my only real plan. And then I got drop Grace up a few times to watch the dog.
Timmy, is that Beef's son?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. She's got the wifey's got a baby shower and Beef's got to work. So.
Oh. All right. Cool, man.
Hit me up and I said, you know what? I'm finally available to do that, so let's do it.
There you go.
My kids will have fun with them and spend a few hours. But that's really all it. I don't want to do anything this weekend. I want to start resting the credit cards and resting my bones in my own bed.
There you go.
I think one weekend out of the last 7, I've actually slept in my bed. I've either been on a hotel or in a tent. So it's nice to
one weekend. You see, and in sharp contrast, there's one weekend that I haven't slept in my bed. every other weekend after that, it's been in my bed.
Streak of mine,
which I was in
Cleveland this weekend. Took my son to his first Minnesota Twins
Saved
game.
his life too.
Yeah, I did. I dove in front of him. We had a screamer coming from Williams Studio, former Red Wing, and guy who can't keep his helmet on his head because he's got a big mop of like curly Latin hair, and he swings, and he looks like he's like the Twins.
Does he
Pablo Sandoval?
Does he pull up Bartolo Colon when he swings and his fucking?
He plays third base, but he also catches.
Okay.
He runs around the bases, and his helmet comes flying off like out of the box.
That's the greatest thing
He
ever.
swings
It's
and
like
loses
Big
his
Sexy. It's like
helmet.
Big Sexy.
Yeah.
That happens with
It
him all
is.
the time.
It is, but he hit a screamer right at us, and I had like a split second to think, do I try to catch this? Is it a good idea, or should I cover my son who's not paying attention? He's looking at the field because he's kind of in awe, because the night before we sat up in the nosebleeds, and you got the bird's eye view of the field, which was cool. But then we had third row right next to the Twins dugout, and I made the choice to cover him. Guy in front of us with big meat hook hands caught it one-handed.
Get out of here.
Line drive, catches it one-handed.
Oof.
And you can hear it. I mean, it hit hard.
Oh.
Because even in studio, when he hit it, he cringed at home plate because he was like, he knew he hit it hard. And he hit it right off the end of the bat, and it came like, I mean, you can hear it coming towards you. The guy caught it one-handed, and he was showing everybody, and he was talking about, the guy came over to check on his hand, the concierge service with the Indians. He's like, no, I'm totally fine. He's sitting there talking, and he looked back, and he saw Sean standing there with his glove, just kind of watching the game, and he's just like, hey, buddy. He's like, you want a ball? And he's like, and so he handed it to him, and
That kid's a fucking ball magnet.
yeah. And so
I swear to God,
really
I feel like every single time you go to a Red Wings game or whatever, he's got a ball.
So is Grace. Grace is the same way. But what also sucked is in that same row there was these three 10 to 12, 13-year-old kids sitting there all with their glove, and in between each inning, one of the Twins players would finish up, come into the dugout, and they go throw a ball into the crowd, and these kids are reaching over rows, catching every ball. They had 7 balls in front of us, and they gave up one. They gave up one ball to a kid who came down. He was a little kid, and he finally was just like, oh, all right, I've got 6 of these, so here you can have this one. It was kind of pissed me off. It was kind of jerky because there was other people in the area that could have had it too, but at least Sean got one, which was cool. It was in the freaking first inning, so he was psyched about that. Yeah, you're definitely behind. It just finished up. It's 11-3 was the final. Yeah. There's still only one out, and it's 11-2.
Yeah, whatever. It's Chromecast. Who cares?
But yeah, he had a blast. I mean, he really enjoyed it. We got some bonus fireworks on Saturday night too. They did a tribute to old school hip hop, which was dope.
I did see those the videos you sent me.
They had a really good fireworks display too.
Pretty
so
dope.
It was a good time.
Pretty cool, man.
So I'm gonna be home.
All right, very good.
What about you?
I will be. I think I'm going to visit good old Mr. Rizzo.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
Holly T's.
His birthday. I want to say it's the big 5-0.
Oh,
for old Mr.
You should
Rizzo.
get him an old version of Madden.
I think. I think I'm not 100% sure on that, and I don't want to. He doesn't listen to my podcast anyway, so I don't give a shit. But
Get him the Polly T's.
I think
Get him a poster. Polly T cheerleader.
Polly T cheerleader poster. But no, we're gonna go visit. We're gonna go visit the new lady friend, and I are gonna go visit him him on Saturday. Him and my Aunt Mary, and probably have a few pops, a few Pepsis, and around a fire and shoot the breeze. And while they're all talking about crap that I've probably heard a million times, I'm probably going to be streaming the Notre Dame game on YouTube TV on my phone using his internet. And yeah, that's about it. And then bitching, and then probably bitching on Twitter about the Jets getting their asses handed to them by the Patriots' third string team in the second quarter when Tom Brady sits. So yeah, that's about it.
This was also Bruce Bochy's 2000th win as manager.
Really?
Tonight. Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know what the thing is? Remember we were talking just a little about, earlier in the podcast, we were talking about Eli Manning and his, basically a 500 record in his career.
Yep.
Bruce Bochy's below 500. Or, he's below 500.
Is he below 500 now? Because I remember earlier in the week, I believe he was...
Well, he was 1995 and 2019. He was below 500.
Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was.
He's below 500.
He started
but he's
managing in 1995, and he's finishing in 2019.
But the dude won 3 World Series, and he took another team in an improbable World Series and lost to that Yankee machine of the 2000s. But, I mean, he's been to 4 World Series, but yet, it's below 500 record.
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
He is, and that's what I'm saying. Like, record isn't always the indicator of like a good manager, especially in baseball. But 2,000 career wins, it's a pretty big milestone.
That's a very big milestone. Not very many have that. But all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with that podcast, or with this podcast, rather, not that podcast. This podcast, we're going to wrap it up.
Dong bag?
It's Jesus. Shut up.
Wrap it up.
I am tired at this point. So, thanks everybody for listening into the Listening Podcast, episode 101 with myself and Brandon, and we invite you next week as week 4 begins. We'll go ahead. We will bitch about that, or at least I'll bitch about that. The most consistent
we've been since last season.
Yes. Well, it's kind of the base for this.
We
podcast
have this great idea, like we're going to do this summer, we're going to do that this summer, and then we don't do anything else.
We don't do shit in the summer. It's like the NFL draft is our season finale.
Yeah.
And then we get busy with summer, and then we kind of convene towards the end of the summer and do that.
Yeah.
So whatever. We'll cross it. We'll cross that particular bridge next year when we get there. But thanks again to everybody for listening and for supporting us by, quite frankly, listening to the podcast start to finish without skipping the commercials. So stay tuned for the commercials. Please do not skip those. It's literally 30 to 45 seconds extra of your time. Please don't skip those. It helps us a great.
Yeah, just put it on mute or something.
Yeah, there you go. Just do that. Just do that.
Just let it play.
It would be.
You can put the whole podcast on mute. Just
let it play.
Just let it play.
That's all we need.
Put it on repeat.
But thank you again for tuning in. Join us next week. Brandon, we will do this again next week, either Studio A or Studio B, whatever, it doesn't matter.
See.
All right. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Flavor Flav. See us out.
Yeah, boy!
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.